Good evening, everybody. We are live with Rafael Capone and Adrian Allen
What's going on, A?
What's going on?
and me, of course, as
What's, go-
always.
what's going on, Mona?
All
Thank you,
right, all right. I'm glad you could make it.
thank you for having me. Thank you for
All
having
right,
me.
all right. So, I want you to tell us a little bit about how you came about audio. First of all, how did you come about doing what you do?
Well, I got connected to music as a child through my parents. My dad was a Vietnam veteran, but I think he did some time in China or somewhere. But he brought home this crazy analog system.
Hmm.
It was a record player, CD, 15-inch, and it was all Pioneer, so it was all high end. So
Hmm.
I got to listen to music at a young age at a high quality, and I just liked music. My dad listened to jazz, and my
Hmm.
mom listened to symphonic music, and of course, me being a kid growing up in Detroit, I was listening to rock and roll because rap
Right.
hadn't come about yet, and I was about 7, 8, 9, or whatever. But by the time I was in my teens, I think like 13, I got introduced to hip hop in a way to where I was like, oh, I want to do that for a living. And I started putting everything into play to be able to do it for a living. At
Hmm.
14, I came up with the name Soul Asylum Studios. So I already knew what I wanted my studio to be called. I remember the conversation with my parents, like, hey, I'm going to, I'm from Detroit. So I was like, I'm going to open up a studio. I'm
Hmm.
going to have show cars, like the drug dealers got, but you get to see it twice. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Because in the D, you saw a hot whip, you saw it once because, the police is riding down on them. I was
Right.
like, and I'm going to rent my cars out and I'm going to make product. And that's what I'm going to do for a living. My
Okay.
parents they was like, no, the hell you ain't. But,
I was like, not this kid.
and that's exactly what I did,
Okay.
and that's what I still do full time for a living.
Okay. Now I'm gonna jump around a little bit
Oh,
because
yeah, for sure.
I've seen your one of your vehicles
Hmm.
before. Now that Hummer that you have,
Yep, Solar Side H2.
that thing ain't nothing but the truth. Let me tell you
Mhm.
that.
Thank you.
That thing is beautiful, and I've heard it. I've been parked right next to you. I was like, I can't play my damn music because my damn music is it's way louder than mine.
But I do play well with others, so I
Yeah,
turn it off, let
you do.
other people play, then I'll come back when they playing nonsense or it's starting to sound bad.
Right, exactly.
Wishing down
But
this way, that'll be very quick.
right, right.
so let's talk about cars. Um, my first world famous show car was in 1990.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I had a Cherokee. So again, I was always in the cars, always in the music.
Mm-hmm.
And in Detroit, we had this place called Belle Isle where you could go hang out, and it would be all the custom cars. But like I say,
Mm-hmm.
only the dope boys had the custom cars.
Right.
So once I joined the military at 16, no, 15, I took my ASVAB test, and
Mm-hmm.
I left at 17. Um, and went through that and went through the school and training. But as soon as I got to my duty station, I wanted to, buy me a Jeep Cherokee to customize it.
Right.
But I got stationed in Germany, so I had to wait. But as soon as I got to the States, in my last 2 years in the service, I was
Mm-hmm.
able to get me a Cherokee, and I had it fully customized. Interior, I made it into a convertible. I had a wall of 415s.
Okay.
Um, I competed. The installer who built my first build voted the number one installer in the world that year and was on the all the audio magazines. So
Damn.
that was
Wait a
luck, though.
minute. Wait.
That was literally luck. But he
Who,
schooled me on
who was this
builds.
guy?
I always forget his name, but when I tell people he was in Austin, he was in Killeen, Texas. His name is something. I always forget, but everybody knows him. Like traffic jam, people like, what? That's who built your first build like 15, 20 years ago? Ken something. But
Okay.
but a famous builder. But my first build, 100 grand, um, in 1990, was we called it the Motown Soldier because I dedicated it to the city of Detroit. And So when people be thinking I got into cars later, I've always been into cars. I've always been competing. I've always had high end show cars, and then
Okay.
I always used the cars to promote the business.
Okay. So now
Smart move.
you
Hmm.
do more of the in studio stuff now, though, correct? Like
As far as
as your music and all that, because we don't see you out at no shows no more because you branched out.
no, no. So every 10 years, I build a new location.
Okay.
So, and I started on the nine. So
Mm-hmm.
99, even though I
Mm-hmm.
started Soul Asylum in 93,
Mm-hmm.
1999 was when I built my first custom studio that I actually designed and built myself.
Okay.
Um, and then in 2009, I built another location. And now in 2019, I built another location. So if you take every nine, I build a new location. Because
Mm-hmm.
I don't have partners and investors, I
Mm-hmm.
make it and build it. It takes me a couple years to build it. So
Right.
by the time you met me, I was done with the build, and now I'm in my marketing promotion phase. On every three, I hit the streets. So in '93, I'm
Oh,
out with a show vehicle. In
okay.
2003, and
Mm-hmm.
2013, and now
Well,
in
guess what?
2023.
It's 2023.
Right?
Time to
It's
hit
a
the
system.
streets.
It's a
So,
system, and I've been doing this for decades. So
so
people
that
think I disappear, but I don't. I'm now in
does
the
that
building
mean
phase of been in a decade.
that means we're going to see you this year out there?
Oh yeah. Oh heavy. Oh yeah. Just like if you
Okay.
think about it, 2023, I hit the scene with the mob style Mero, and then the H2 came behind that because I always keep two show cars. I'll keep a car and an SUV. So
Mm-hmm.
before it was an Expedition
Mm-hmm.
and a Charger, you know. And then before
So
that, it was a
what do you
Celine
have now?
Mustang.
What do
Now
you have?
I have of course another Camaro. So
Mm-hmm.
I just got the newer version of the Camaro, so the mob style Camaro, the last generation. And
Okay.
I have the Hummer, which is the SUV.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but you know that Hummer was so taxing as far as gas that I added a hybrid
Oh,
to the thing, because in the hybrid I can get, you know, 500-600 miles to a tank of gas. So I
really?
can, yeah, so I can still be on tour, but now I'm not spending, you know, 5 miles a gallon in the Hummer. You know, I might spend 40 grand a year doing shows
Yeah.
with the Hummer, and that's just gas.
You ain't got to tell me because I had a Hummer too, and I was like,
Okay,
I was like,
yeah, and mine only gets 5 miles a gallon because of the weight and the
yeah,
system and the 28s.
yeah.
You know.
Yep. Dealership, take these keys back.
So I got smart. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna customize a hybrid, you know, so I can still be when I need to be actually on tour, marketing, promoting, and
Mm-hmm.
then, you know, hit heavy with the Hummer. So the last couple years I have been missing, but it ain't because I don't do the shows no more. It's
Okay,
literally, you know, 2019. I have to come off tour. I mean, I have to design and build a location, and this location here is 13,000 square feet.
I know.
Um,
Being
and I
that.
and I start from scratch. So I'll usually take empty warehouses and
Mm-hmm.
then build the facilities, and it takes a minute.
Right.
So
You're
after
doing.
when you get ready to start to build another one, do you, I guess, sell the one that you're in?
Yes, I
Oh,
don't leave them. So I can't say I sell them.
okay.
They're dismantled,
Mm.
and so they're left not like they are. And I learned that from Waffle House. Um, so
Oh,
yeah, let me tell you something. Everybody know Waffle House, right?
yeah.
Hmm.
When Waffle House leave, even if you buy the land by contract, you cannot put a restaurant in that spot for so many years because people are creatures of habit.
Mm-hmm.
So if I go in, my last location was a $2.5 million location that went world famous all over TV shows, Love and
Mm-hmm.
Hip Hop. So just imagine when I'm ready to move and I have to move and somebody just take over my spot, my clients will just stay there because they're
Right.
just used to being there. So no,
Exactly.
we don't. We don't leave them. They literally get taken back to nothing nobody wants. And if you want to build it up, you know, put your money into it.
Okay, that's
So
right. I'm using
with
my
doing
stuff.
that, and I mean, not trying to get too personal, but do you feel like, I get it, it's a good mindset and a good habit, but do you feel like you lose a lot of money doing that?
No, We always stay at the forefront of recording because we always have the newest technology with the newest locations. Our brand always jumps ahead of the other brands. You know, no different than, how can I explain it? If you're married and you don't spice up your marriage,
That's
they
true.
love you, they like you, but they may have wandering eyes, which may turn into a wandering emotion,
Right.
so you can't
Mm-hmm.
put a price on always being at the forefront of my industry.
Mm-hmm.
And then somebody's like, oh, I love Patrick, I love Tree Sound, but man, that new spot is crazy.
Right.
and
Right.
and it's hard to keep up. I mean, and if they remodel, you're only remodeling. That's like dressing up the same old thing.
Right. Because it ain't nothing
So
like yours, I'm sure.
they say that. Oh no, nah. And then we also, yeah, I think I'm a designer and a builder, so it's
Mm-hmm.
it's not like I have to take a spot and just go off of the brand name.
Mm-hmm.
I'm already got the pulse on, what's hot. Like my newest location has a movie theater in it, and it's a
Okay.
real movie. It's a real movie theater.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so it's not like we converted a space because now we're trying to compete with the market. We built a movie theater from scratch that worked into the flow, which makes it very unique, and it's hard to compete with that.
Okay. That's
In
awesome.
the remodel.
So now, do you guys get a lot of the like the artists and stuff coming in and doing videos and all that kind of stuff in there where you are?
Yeah. So because I'm a designer and a builder, I've always my facilities always have been used for film, for television, for
Okay.
video shoots, for movies.
Mm-hmm.
Because even when I started building studios in 1999, my goal was not to build a standard studio with dull colors and so on
Mm-hmm.
and so forth. So my 1999 studio was lavish before studios were thinking they needed lavish. Because the average studio, you got to put $3-4 million in equipment. Anybody
Right.
caring about them walls after you just spent
Right.
500,000 on the console? But for
Right.
Right.
me, I was like, yo, my motto is going to be create, relax, create. So I want
Mm-hmm.
people to walk into a vibe. So in 1999, I built a stylish studio that didn't fit into the norm. But yo,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I picked up Def Jam South. I picked up Universal. I picked up David Hollister. I picked up Lil Jon and the East Side Boys because the other studios were gray, wood. And I'm like, yo, I want to put some granite in here and some crazy lighting and still have all the great equipment. So it wasn't
Right.
like I was how people overcompensate because they can't compete with the right gear. No, I had the
Right.
gear, but the vibe.
Right.
Because it was,
Yeah, because what you
you know,
got going on right now behind you is just like,
I
yo,
love
if I did music, I'd be like, yo, I'm going there. We about to chill
it's a
out,
vibe.
boom, sit back, right.
it.
All right, let
Really,
me get on the
really
mic,
is.
boom. Like
Yeah,
It's
it's,
that's
really
it's
nice there though, because
yeah. So
I look at all them videos and I be looking at everything. It is really, really nice in there. And now I need you to explain. I need you to explain the Dolby Atmos. Is that what it's called?
yeah, so that the future of music is going from stereo to immersive, or what they call object based, and that means
Mm-hmm.
that just the music can move around. But if
Mm-hmm.
you think about it, when I was a kid, music was, well, it was stereo, but my parents grew up to mono music, so it was one speaker.
Right.
But it sounded good because you still getting the emotion and the feeling, And when they brought out stereo, it was an argument. People's like, we don't need that. But then when they could really enjoy left and right and the emotion of it, it
Mm-hmm.
blew up, And
Right.
then Dolby, who does mainly film, tried to create surround sound in music, but there was phasing issues, and
Mm-hmm.
it just didn't give you the impact of straight on stereo. So they
Right.
spent 10 years developing Dolby Atmos. Um,
Okay.
and what it
So,
is you're immersed in the music. So if you came and
mhm,
if I played you a record right here and you sat where I sat, it's like the artist is around you, the
mhm,
music is around you, and then the piano can play from the back to the front. It can go from down to up, left to right. So if a
mhm.
wave washes by, a wave can actually wash by, and you feel like the wave washed by as the person is singing that ballad to you. And
Right.
That is
because
became the
I
future.
noticed today, today alone, I was listening to music in my car,
Hmm.
and it said Dolby Atmos on. It was like a song on Apple Music, and it
Hmm.
was one of those Caribbean songs. I forgot the name of it, but you can hear the different. I don't know the name of the instrument, but the what's the drums that the Caribbean people
They
play?
have the steel drums. They have
Yes,
the
you can hear the steel drums starting here, finishing here, and then it
yeah,
just comes around like.
and
And
it's
I
more
thought,
pleasurable.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
yeah,
Yeah.
because
yeah,
especially
because
with what we do,
yeah,
judges walk around the car.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
if the
because
sound doesn't sound the same at your front left as it does at your front right, or it doesn't flow,
Right.
then it's not something's
well,
not good.
because Raphael, what we do, I'm sure you know,
Hmm.
um, we do sound quality battles. We
Yeah.
just don't do bass. So,
And
and
there's a difference. Yes.
yeah, there's a big difference, and
Hmm.
I'm a judge actually, so I probably hear some of the stuff that you hear,
Hmm.
but us being like judges and being able to hear the different sounds, different tones, and the mids and the highs,
And the
and
texture.
yeah, the mid range, and we listen for different stuff. A lot of people just listen for just loud music.
And there's a huge difference. Yes.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So, by us being sound quality people, we listen a little deeper than just the volume.
Hmm. Right. Right. Yeah. You
You
listen
know,
for tone and texture, and,
exactly.
and how the vocal does the vocal sound natural, or is it
Mhm.
just horned out? Cranked up and
Exactly.
loud.
Like
And
I
feeling.
used
Right.
use the song "Got My Whiskey" by Mel Waiters.
Hmm.
A lot of people, if your system isn't if your stuff isn't tuned properly, you can't tell that he has a warm. Same thing with Gregory Porter.
Yeah.
He has a warm feel to it.
Yes.
Not holding on.
Say
You
what?
talking about holding on?
At the beginning of the song, you can hear the warmth in his voice.
Yeah. When I compete in SQ and and
Hmm.
and or the SQ loud and a dueling demo type of thing,
Yep.
I'll play country music because you can hear the articulation and warmth in their vocal,
Yep.
and that'll really catch a judge because I'll do that, or I'll play a female vocal, and it's really hard to reproduce the female vocal in its
Right.
natural tone, but my system's tuned and balanced to play naturally. And, I'm doing
Right.
cuts instead of boosts on my EQ, to
Right.
really dial it in.
Right. And that's what well, I retired,
Mhm.
guys. I've retired.
No,
For
she didn't.
now.
No, she didn't.
Right, exactly. For now. You'll be back.
Everybody's trying to bring me back out,
We're
but
coming back.
I love music, Raphael and Adrian. I love music, but I'm getting old now. I'm old.
Whatever. I'm 52.
I'm 57.
Okay. I mean, I take more naps now. So by 57, I am going to be a napping cat,
See,
but still.
see, but
But
see,
we.
the thing is, they don't understand that. I love music, but
Mhm.
now, when we go to shows, you have to play to your crowd.
Yes, this is
You
true.
gotta play. You gotta play to the crowd, and me at my age, my crowd ain't cussing and yelling and
But
screaming.
but okay, I have to interrupt because
That ain't
you do have to play to the crowd, but you
right.
don't have to play to the crowd. Like
Yeah,
I'm a Detroit cat, West Side,
yeah.
grew up. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? But when I
yeah.
do the shows, yo,
Mm,
I will play pop, I will play R&B, I will play electronic music, and when a cat come over, like yo, play some of that little baby, I hit him
right,
with the hey, I'm sponsored and I can't play anything with cuss words.
right. And see, that's the thing is, don't get me wrong, but I mean, people cuss every day. We
Yeah,
do,
but
we do
it's different coming out of a system.
exactly,
Because
and
it's
a lot
coming
of
at you.
a
Yes.
lot of
So
people
that
don't understand that.
yeah,
You know,
yo, I explain it to people. One
right?
time, so I was doing a show at Orange Beach,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm a brother with dreads,
Mm-hmm.
so wasn't many brothers in Orange Beach, and so the system was so loud that I would play on time schedule. I was like, yo, I'm gonna play at 3 o'clock and at 6 o'clock, so the show just wouldn't be annoyed with me. But
Right.
I didn't play any rap. I would play like Kenny Rogers, or I
Yep.
would play some Elvis. I
Right.
would just But everybody else, even the white cats, they playing gangster rap, but they music doesn't have wave maturity. So 50 feet away, they cuss word ain't the same as my cuss word 100 feet away.
Right.
So
Exactly.
I'm good. I'm on my second day, and then this old lady came up. She's like, "Yo, my grandson came just to see this Hummer. You know, can he play this song?"
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yeah. So she named it. So I said, I don't have that song. He said, well, I have it in my phone. Can you hook it up to the aux cord? I was like,
Oh.
yeah, I can do that. Oh my God. This little kid might have been like 7. And his grandmom was like grandmom, like hunched over old lady. Yo, the song he played was so vulgar. And
Oh
him and
no.
her was dancing. By the time I stopped it, yo, the show people came over to me and it just ringed me. And it looked like I was playing this gangster music for this precious little child and this older lady. And I was like, yo, they brought the music. It didn't even matter. That show, I
Right.
didn't win no trophies. They took me
Ah,
out of the show
oh man,
pictures.
that really shut you down.
Yeah, they shut me down, yo. And it was
Yeah.
just like, so trust me, them curse words, don't do it. Ain't
Right.
happening.
And see,
So
that's
you can
that's
still come
me.
out.
Yeah.
So still
And
come out. Forget them.
that's the thing is they look at us because you're playing to the crowd, but I like the clean versions
Hmm.
of the music because everybody can enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's just not for one particular crowd.
Hmm.
And
I put together playlists and
mhm,
they already before I get there. So I'll tell people like, hey, I already got a downloaded playlist.
right.
I don't have Wi-Fi.
And that's me.
Whatever. Like I can't do it.
Yep,
What I'm
no
saying, just like this
Bluetooth.
is just what
Nope.
I got.
Yep, that's me. I'm
Love
like,
it or
I
leave it.
can't play that. I can't play that. I'm sorry.
Hmm.
Rocky,
But
I got
it's
a question for
funny though how they don't understand that.
Yeah,
And
just walk away.
yeah, they just don't understand. All right, now I got another question. All right, now,
And Aaron said he had a question real quick.
okay.
Oh, I was just gonna say because I mean you're a producer, correct?
So I'm in the music business,
Mm-hmm.
and I've worked in every portion of it. So I got in at 93, and I was a recording engineer, and I was working with a music producer, but he didn't have my work ethic, and he was drawing the business back. And so I was an engineer for a couple of celebrity producers. They was like, "Yo, if you can engineer, you can learn to produce." So they
Hmm.
kind of taught me production, and I produced for years and did very well at it. Um,
Well, so who's some of your favorite artists that you've worked with?
all of them,
Oh,
There you go. All
I mean, all of them. But
name, name a couple that you've worked with.
so my client list over 30 years goes all over the gamut.
right.
I have platinum plaques for Britney Spears, Jeezy, T.I., Moneybagg Yo, Blue. But, I've worked with Little John Eastside Boys, Pharrell, um, oh my God,
So
MC
you got a
Breeze,
big list.
Pebbles, LaFace. Like I'm literally in the music business
That's awesome.
uh professionally for 30 years, and I've always worked hard to be a major studio. And
Hmm.
around from 93, I was a basement studio in my mom's basement. 95, I was an apartment studio in Georgia.
Hmm.
96, I was a loft studio in Georgia. 99, I was ready to start my 10-year campaign, and I built my first custom studio. And then
Hmm.
in 2009, uh, my next, which was called the Castle, and then 2009, the Laboratory. But in all
Okay.
of those, yo, my company name and the brand,
Hmm.
we ring bells. We one of Atlanta top studios. They have 400
Nice.
studios in Atlanta, literally
Yeah.
400 studios. But there are
Hmm.
4 studios that the Atlanta Journal Constitution and Access Atlanta vote on every year. And they
Hmm.
say the studio you will meet someone famous or become famous. We've been
Hmm.
in that lineup for 12
Nice.
years, every year.
Con- Congratulations. That's
You know,
awesome.
So you've
so we
worked
do
with
this for real,
you've
Yeah.
huh?
worked with like Gucci and other
Yeah, Rocco.
Atlanta men.
Yeah, I
Hmm.
mean, like, well, you got to think about it. We are a very successful recording brand that
Hmm.
offers more than recording.
Right.
So
Mhm.
let's just, I mean, it's really hard to explain.
Right.
Like without making it being like a bragging type of thing, but we're a
Right.
part of the Atlanta music scene and beyond because of my car show stuff. It gives me
Mm-hmm.
such a reach and such
Right.
visibility that people fly in all over the world to work in my locations. I'm talking
Right.
Russia, California, Spain, Japan. I own destination locations. So like if you come to Atlanta, you got to go to Soul Asylum. You got to record something at Soul Asylum.
Right.
So that is the gamut of it. But I do it for the passion,
Mm-hmm.
uh, not the fame in a sense. So whenever I
Right.
get back into those questions, I will spew out our celebrity client list. But to be honest with you, I love the indies because that passion is totally different than when the label making you not making you, but hey, we need another hit. So it ain't as
Right.
fun because it's like shit. We gotta get these records out, and we know
Right.
they gotta be this, that, and the other. Where independent's like, yo, I want to experiment. I want to try something new. I'm
Right.
feeling like this today, and we like, hey, let's run it.
Let's do it. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you this: what was the most challenging part of starting your own business?
Um, Not knowing anything. Um,
He said not
like,
knowing it.
yeah, I mean, you got to think. I didn't get my first building until 1999
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't know I could get a building. I mean, think about it. I'm a kid. I'm 20 something. I want to do
Mm-hmm.
a studio. I didn't know about lease,
Right.
property managers. I
Right.
didn't know anything. I just knew I wanted to do music. So the hardest thing was just not knowing business, not knowing the things that were available to me, thinking I had to be a home studio, not
Okay.
realizing I could be a commercial studio from the start if I would have just went out and got a 5,000 square foot building in an area where rent might have been more affordable. Because
Right.
if you think about it, ain't that many people starting businesses, especially back
Exactly.
in 93,
Right.
you
Right.
know.
Okay.
So that was my most challenging.
Okay.
Information.
Okay. All right. What was your? Let's see. I'm trying to see how I can put this now.
Mhm.
How long have you been an entrepreneur?
Well, when I was 8, I had my first employee. Um, but to me, he wasn't an employee. I had this sweet tooth, so I would kind of finagle some coins out of my mom's purse and buy candy. But the
Right.
kids at school wanted my candy, but I was so selfish at that time that I would only give it. You could buy it, and they would buy it. And they would buy it for whatever price I would offer.
Uh-huh.
And me being a little runt, I was getting bullied out of my profits. So I hired a bodyguard, but I didn't. In my mind, it wasn't a bodyguard. It was a big kid who liked candy, who I could pay him in candy to protect my little candy business.
Right. You got to do what you got to
and
do.
and so that was my first introduction into entrepreneurship, but not even realize it's entrepreneurship. But it came from my sweet tooth and wanting now and laters and blow pops. Uh, and to keep up my habit, I couldn't keep popping the quarters out of my mom's pocket. So I was selling it and generating revenue at a very early age. And then
Okay.
from that, I went to a paper route, later, like 12 or 13.
Okay.
Um, and, and after going into the Army, once I got out the Army, I took that leap of faith and started Soul Asylum
Okay.
and
Okay.
made
Now,
it work.
all right. Now, how do you define success for yourself and your team? I don't know how many people you guys have working for you, or how do you define success?
Well, a lot of people in my mind don't understand success is just doing what you enjoy and able to feed your family and your team.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I don't see it. Okay, I got this platinum plaque, or Jeezy last album was mixed here, and it's top 10 on the Billboard. I don't define it as a success. I find
Right.
success is that I get to work on that
Mm-hmm.
and I enjoy it. And if I
Right.
don't want to work on it, I can go take a nap.
Yeah, you can
So,
be a part of it if you choose to be.
right, controlling your time and being able to say no to me is success.
Right. Okay. Okay.
Because in the
And
beginning, I couldn't say no.
That's a different look on it. I mean, because obviously, all of us here in this podcast, we're all entrepreneurs. So, we've got our own businesses too. And my problem is just not being able to tell somebody no. So, like, for example, just like Mona, I make these things. And I could be laying in the bed with my fiance at 11 o'clock at night and somebody inbox me, hey, I want this on a cup.
You got to get up and do it.
That go ding, I'm up and I'm sitting right here. And this is like, it can play a role. So you're right. Like once you can reach that level,
to say no, to
say no, that is definitely a level of success, because at that point, financially, you're already stable enough to say no, and it ain't gonna hurt you.
Right, and the business, you're not gonna lose that business. They're gonna be willing to wait until till you say yes, or till you answer the phone, or if you just don't want to do it, they can go find somebody else. But it won't hurt. It don't hurt you. It's like, you know the saying go, all money isn't good money.
That's what I say all the time.
Right now, with me being in the introduction stages of this business, it's like my fear is I don't want to lose money.
And you better stay that way, because keep in mind, I'm 30 years in the game. So I wasn't saying no in 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99. I promise you. If LaFace called me, or Scarface when he was president of Def Jam South was like, yo, Capone, we need the room, and I was on vacation, guess what? We jumping in the whip and driving back to Atlanta.
I'm on the way back.
Yeah. I'm 6 hours away, yada, yada, yada,
Right.
But then as your business grow and you reinvest and you grow your team, you're going to be able to be like, hey, this is my time. I'm here. I'm there. Y'all handle it, or we close and we'll open back up tomorrow or next week. But we got you. That's why you call.
Right. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, what are the top 3 lessons you've learned as an entrepreneur?
Well, I'm still learning. It never ends as an entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what they tell you. Every day is a new day.
The game constantly changes.
Yeah. People change. The market change. Products change. Demand changes. But if I had to just say what 3 things, don't let it happen. Make it happen.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
If you're down to your last dollar because sales are slow, spend it on advertising.
There you go.
And network. And not in the sense that you're doing it to do business. You're doing it for visibility, which at some point creates awareness to where if an opportunity comes, they think of you because you were fresh on their mind.
Right. Okay.
So just stay circulating. The body needs oxygen. Things have to circulate. You let your legs sit there too long, it'll fall asleep.
That's right.
Circulation is everything. So a new business, a young business, and people be like, oh, Coca-Cola ain't circulating. Oh, Apple ain't circulating. When Elon Musk took over Twitter, Apple stopped advertising, and it found out that Apple was spending $8 to $15 million a month advertising on Twitter. Break that down.
Wow.
When I was on Twitter, I never saw an Apple ad, but they were still spending that money, so it was circulating somewhere to stay relevant. And we know Apple is relevant.
Right, exactly.
So if Apple still got to stay that active, so do you, so do I. It's just a matter of where we're going to stay active at, or when people be like, oh, people be like, hey, man, you running too many ads, man. Rolls Royce don't advertise. That mean they got a great product. I'm like, bro, when the last time you been to a tennis match? I don't go to tennis. When the last time you been to a golf championship? Oh, man, I don't golf, bro. We in the hood. Well, guess what's in those brochures and those magazines and parked out front? Rolls Royce and Lamborghinis. They're advertising in spots that they're going to get a return. So, no, they ain't in your neighborhood and they ain't on your TV channel, because somebody sitting around watching TV cannot afford a Rolls Royce.
That's the truth.
So people get it twisted. Like, no one is not advertising. Netflix just did a deal with GM
Mm-hmm.
to put more hybrids in the average TV show
Mm-hmm.
to make it so normal and visual that people now start wanting them subconsciously. That's the power of advertising. Just think about that. Hey, I know you're doing a TV show. We don't want to run a commercial on there. We want an electric vehicle in the scene when the guy go to the store to get a Coca-Cola.
Right. Right.
That's circulation.
That's what they do. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Exactly.
Yeah, and there's like a lot of like some of these companies out here that you don't see advertising for. Yeah, they're advertising in their markets where they'll see a return, but yeah, they've also gotten to a point to where they have a product that they know no matter what they're gonna buy. Prime example, I work at T-Mobile.
mhm.
I broke it down. There's literally, and if Apple watches this and T-Mobile watches this, I might get fired. But there is literally no difference, even down to the spec. They tell you this. There is no difference between an iPhone 13 and an iPhone 14. But guess what? Apple knows you're going to go buy that 14. Even though you just got the 13 6 months ago, they know you're going to go buy that 14.
They're going to create that desire by showing it to you and showing it in other people's hands and make you feel away. But here's one thing people don't understand. Back when, how important advertising is, I don't care how great your brand is and how locked in it is, you still have to advertise only because your competitors are advertising. So
Right.
let's say the cigarette company, when the government came in and said cigarette companies could no longer do billboards, you think they was like, all right, oh no, they was like great, because Marlboro had to have a billboard because Cool had a billboard. Cool had to have a billboard because another cigarette company, and so them billboards is costing them 30 and 40 and 50 million a year. So when the government killed that, they stopped doing it, but McDonald's is still going to sell burgers, but they still running a commercial because Burger King running a commercial, and they don't want you to see so much Burger King. And even though you can't live without some McDonald's fries, you'll start to subconsciously think, oh, they must be doing bad because I ain't seen them on TV in a while. And then you just hit Burger King up. So advertising ain't going nowhere. So
Right.
down to your last dollar, advertise.
That's okay. All right. So where do you see your
And I
company
respect that.
in 5 years?
So I do have a new goal. I may not do another location in 10 years or in the 9, because I want to build a factory in Georgia and Detroit. So I'm hoping my next 10-year growth is factory, a manufacturing for my
Production.
monitor line, the speakers I develop and design.
Yeah, I've seen some of them, and I try to draw up some stuff. Look, I just be I be drawing. I don't know what you be doing. They don't know nothing about no inches and this and that. I just be drawing them. But so the ones that I see sitting around in your areas
in the studios.
Yeah, I be looking, and I be looking at the speakers because I'm a speaker fanatic, I guess, because car audio.
Yeah.
So we look at things that we're used to that catches our eye. So you build those yourself?
I'm OBM and ODM. So my product is designed and engineered in the United States, and then I have a build house in China that actually builds the product. But if you look on the back, it's stamped on there, designed and engineered in the USA. But I have a build house overseas because at now I can't afford a factory. So that's what I'm working on now, to be able to afford my own factory, because there is no, even though you got the contracts and the NDAs and the intellectual property contracts, you're still going to be copied when it's not built in-house.
Right.
Somebody's going to be like, oh, that idea, works. And since your molds are there, even though they're supposed to be protected, people steal. And they leave that company and go to another company because somebody hired them away, but, to steal. So, so I don't physically make them, but my product is still made by hand. It takes 100 days to make 100 pieces because we do everything from raw materials. So we start with plastics, rubbers, and we make everything. Our own amplifiers, our own drivers, speakers, PCM boards. Everything is in-house and by design.
And all of that stuff is studio equipment, or could it be?
So it's studio monitors. So
Oh,
I
okay.
make high-end active studio monitors. So if you look, uh, one of those just
Let me see.
hanging,
I'm looking.
if you see one of those hanging back in the corner, those are
Yeah.
some of my monitors.
Yeah, I see it back there.
Yeah. And so I'm the first black-owned
Mm-hmm.
design and manufacturer of reference active monitors in the world. I,
Congratulations.
yeah, I'm the first hex amped monitor in the world because
What's
it's
that?
a lot
What
of
is that?
technology. I mean, it's 6 amplifiers in just one of my monitors. So you
Six
think
is
about it,
six.
6. Every driver has his own amplifier.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and companies didn't want to touch that. One, it's expensive. Two,
Mm-hmm.
you got to deal with the heating issues.
Mm-hmm.
And people want to make stuff cheaper and cheaper and sell it more and more. Where I wanted to make a product that I could use and that I needed. Wealth wasn't on my mind. I was just
Mm-hmm.
tired of my products not performing. So
Mm-hmm.
I spent 10 years doing some research and design and came up with my concepts and products and what materials work best. Because that last 10 years when I was on the road, when you saw me heavy, I was
Mm-hmm.
also studying and learning about drivers and wave maturity and certain things. And
Mm-hmm.
people don't realize that just because I'm an audio engineer and I work in a recording studio, don't mean I understand um, speakers in the sense of the surround, the spider,
Right.
the dust cap,
Mm-hmm.
so I had to learn those things and then take my technical knowledge that I know from design and build and engineering and merge
Mm-hmm.
it together. And I came up with my product. Because even my build house was like, yo, this isn't going to work. Like, what do you mean it's
Mm-hmm.
not going to work? It's like, this isn't how speakers are made. I was like, I know y'all used to making the same old shit and regurgitating it, where
Right.
I'm going to bring in a whole new, tech. Like one of my monitors, you can bypass the bass, kind of like in car audio with the bass knob.
Mm-hmm.
But I brought that into the speaker world with the bass bypass and DSP control,
Mm-hmm.
and it's all the rave. And now it's being copied as an OEM now product, to where
Mm-hmm.
now companies are offering it to people who don't make their own stuff. Hey, we give you this option on it. And
Right.
that's what OEM is, where I'm OBM, which is original brand manufacturer, and
Yep.
ODM, I'm an original design manufacturer. So all my
Okay.
stuff is raw from scratch.
Okay. That's nice though, because
So,
you're smart.
No,
so
man,
quick
hey,
question.
uh-huh.
I'm assuming the DSPs y'all use in the studio is different from like the DSPs we use in car audio.
Well, let me tell you,
Correct.
we do not use DSP in the recording studios.
Oh, okay, okay.
uh, you know, because
I
it
just
has
heard
to
you
be
say
flat.
DSP, so that's what I thought.
Oh, no, 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 no. So, but you can put a DSP in a studio monitor to control different things, but it's going to be totally different from what you're hearing in the car audio, because car audio is playing colored music in a sense. It's already EQ and affected. In my
Mm-hmm.
studio world, we need the music to be flat with no color, and we
Mm-hmm.
create the color.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't make a decision if the speaker is giving me what isn't really there.
Right.
So even with my monitor, in my design, there's some proprietary technology where I learned how to create analog DSP so my speaker would be flat and true. And this was done in anechoic chamber over a long period of time and a,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of development. So when somebody, let's say somebody copy it, but they won't understand why, and I want to get into litigation. Once we go in
Mm-hmm.
court, we just ask simple questions. Well, why did you do that?
Right.
And they ain't gonna have no
They
answer
don't
because
know.
they don't
Right. They
understand
don't
why.
know.
They just copied and made it work versus
Right.
the science behind. Because we know from car audio that
Mm-hmm.
bass is slow and treble is fast.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how do you create a manual delay compensation or
Mm-hmm.
time compensation without and keeping it natural? Now, that's the mystery that we figured out.
Okay. All right now. Okay. So now it's I got a lot of questions, but I'm gonna have to come down to Georgia and I'm gonna have to check out the studio.
Yeah,
Indeed.
that's what I was gonna say because I was like, look, I plan on making a trip to Georgia this year for vacation to go to the aquarium. So I'm like, hey,
Oh, you got to
uh,
come by. It's an experience. It's called the laboratory. So it's themed after the,
Laboratory.
yeah. So I do themes. So in 99, I mean 1920 in 2009, my theme was a castle. So I
Mm-hmm.
built, how a king's castle is granite,
Mm-hmm.
waterfall,
Mm-hmm.
wood, very luxurious. You know, it was like a $2.5 million build, um, and it had castle stone. It had a castle turret. You know, and when you walked in, every room was soundproof, had its own private bathroom, so you didn't network. You came in, you went to your area, and you didn't
Mm-hmm.
leave. And I would literally have Ti
Mm-hmm.
in the recording studio, Carrie Hilson in the dance studio, Love and Hip Hop upstairs in the penthouse doing an interview, and Selena Johnson doing a little listening party, and I had an indoor club, and
Mm-hmm.
they none of them interrupted each other because it was
Mm-hmm.
built soundproof like a castle.
Right.
So for this decade, I came up with the laboratory, which more like a college campus theme. So it's
Mm-hmm.
big, wide hallways, you know, everybody networks. So when you walk in, you have to walk by everybody and see, and then you go all the way to the back, and then you get to a couple exclusive private areas, with their own bathroom, so you don't network.
Right.
But I
Right.
also added an indoor custom garage, and I'm doing my first actually indoor car show or car meet the 26th. That's how
Really?
big the place is. Yeah, we're doing an
Okay.
indoor, exclusive only private meet, which is
Nice.
part of the design for it.
Nice.
And this
Okay.
is when.
February 26th, we're doing a
Okay.
private invite
You gonna
only
be in
indoor meet.
Virginia Beach?
Yeah, I was to say send me an invite, but I'm there Virginia Beach.
Well, don't worry. We're gonna press it up. We're gonna blog it up and package it up and share it to the world. And then we're gonna do it once a month. You
That's
know,
gonna be
uh,
once a
but it's
month.
invite only.
Nice.
It's invite only. We're gonna feature certain builds.
Mm-hmm.
We only allowing 10 cars to be indoors, and we're doing
Right.
15 VIP outside. But we inviting press and
Nice.
tastemakers and bloggers and
Okay.
people in the culture. And then I'm gonna do feature celebrity cars. And it's just a
Oh, yeah.
just a culture thing. You just hang out and talk
Yeah.
cars and
That's gonna be
enjoy.
awesome. Okay. Now I got one
I'd
more
be
question.
interested in one of those.
You know I do. Now I seen these little what do you call them little four-wheel things the kids drive?
Power wheels. Power wheels. Yes.
Those. You make those too.
Yeah, we customize power wheels. We wrap them. We do lighting. We do audio. We shit, we did Sick for Rick Ross.
I know, I seen them.
Yeah, yeah.
Seen them.
Well, I got a 5-year-old. I'm gonna have to send one down your way.
Hey, we'll get you right. We'll get you right, and
Yeah,
he'll enjoy it.
those things look like real cars.
Yeah, we put the real wrap in it. We 3D print the wheels, so we do custom rims. So we don't just do like the cake pan, the cheap thing.
Right.
Once the person find their wheels, we put actual full real Tierra grills in them because I got a partnership with Tierra Grills for the power wheels. So
Mhm.
we'll design it and Tierra cut it up, and it'll be a real Tierra grill on the power wheel. It ain't no
Right.
knockoff or no
Exactly.
simulation or a look-alike with their logo. It's really
I
from
can
Tierra.
I can only imagine how much of a Power Wheels Tier Grill is because for a car, I priced one for my 300. And that shit was 3,500.
Yeah. For Power Wheels, we do a deal. They only 600.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah.
But your
Some
stuff,
people like that's expensive, but when you think about it's an authentic Tierra grill.
but y'all
Yeah.
do some awesome work because I've been, like I said, I've been following. I
Or
read and I look at everything and I'm nosy already. So
well, we share because we're a
yeah,
lifestyle brand. So,
yeah,
and
exactly.
let me interrupt. So
Yeah.
in 2009, my goal was to become a lifestyle brand, and it took some years, but we're in three different industries. We're immersed in lifestyle, from
Mhm.
design to fashion to car. Because I build studios for people too. I just built one for Selena Johnson, and I'm in
Okay.
negotiation to build one for another celebrity, but I can't say that name until the check
Right.
clear.
That's fine. That's fine.
But it's a huge build. It's gonna
Nice.
take it's about a 6 month build. You know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have a quick question before the Power Wheel
Mhm,
thing before we kind of steer too far away.
mhm.
Um, so do you customize ones that are already built, or can you build one? Like for example, I got a Chrysler 300, right?
Mhm.
If I sent a picture, hey, look, this is my car. I want a Power Wheel version for my daughter.
Yes, we can do that. And I will tell you that will be very expensive because we will be building it from scratch. So we'll take a frame and then we'll get the metal and shape the body, but
Mm.
that's going to be very expensive. Um, so, or we can take um, because we have a huge reach. We have a bigger reach than the average person because
Mhm.
we build and sell Power Wheels. So
Mhm.
I can find cars that you don't even know are out there in
Mhm.
that form, and still get you that, or we can literally build one from scratch. But you want to just to get the round numbers of a from scratch Power Wheel, you're talking $5,000 to $6,000.
And you know what? This may sound crazy. Anybody watches live may be like, "Yo, he's stupid." But as heavy as I am in the car shows and the
It's dope though.
cars,
It's a classic.
and my daughter's starting to like it because my daughter's into the music. I said I got a 5-year-old,
Hmm.
and there was a short time frame where my music wasn't playing in the car because I decided to sell off some products.
Uh-huh.
Mm.
And my daughter would get in the car and be like, "Daddy, cut the music on." And then like I've never seen a 5-year-old where it's like I turn the bass up and she's like, "Turn it up more, turn it up more, turn it up
She
more."
enjoy it. Yeah.
So if if I had the funds, I had
Right.
no
It's
problem.
priceless. It's worth it.
I had
Yeah.
no problem. I mean, and then the fact that to know I can, my daughter already likes to go to car shows with me, so I can take her
Hmm.
to car shows.
And she can
And
interact.
nowadays at car shows, I mean, you go, you see that car shows is no longer just about your car; it's also about your setup, your props.
Yes.
This.
Hmm.
And if I had a splitting image of what's sitting there, real life scale,
Oh, you winning. You
like
winning.
you can't tell me that's not best of show. Like, granted, I may not have some Forgiatos or some Ruchis or
But
something,
let me tell
but
you, you're winning
I got a
because
$7,000,
and you
mini
getting points,
version.
and you're getting points for that too. That's part of your display points. So you
Hmm.
might be neck and neck with a guy with the 4Giotto wheels because you got your trunk done in your interior, and then you get an extra 20 points for your display.
Display.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And people don't understand that when they just go clean up the car and sit it there. People like me is bringing some type of display because them little
Mm.
points matter and they all
Yeah,
add up.
they
So no, I
do.
mean and it ain't just, it's also, think about it. You might end up with some sponsorship because if you get enough visibility with your matching Chrysler, a McLaren might be like, hey, why don't you put some McLaren speakers in there? We'll give them to you. A Metro might be like this because you're getting so much visibility with your child. So it still could
Or
spawn into something else you hadn't even thought about.
Def Bonds and Terra amps. Damien might call me, because everything in the car is Def Bonds and Terra amps.
See, there you go. You know, be like, yo, send
So
me
so
some
if
speakers
everything
from
in
a
the
Chrysler.
car is Def Bonds and Terra amps, and everything in the Power Wheels has got to be Def Bonds and Terra amps.
Yep. Yep. So
But that's
it's a
that's
good
pretty
investment.
dope, man. I've seen people with their Power Wheels out there,
Hmm.
but they're only ones. It's like, okay, oh, I got a Jeep, so I got a Power Wheel
Yeah, they
Jeep.
doing
Okay,
generic
go to
stuff. Yeah,
Walmart
they
and
doing
buy a
generic.
Power Wheel Jeep.
Yeah, they doing
But
generic.
and it's like I've never seen a Chrysler 300 Power Wheel. I've never even really seen like a newer body style because I have a 2019, but
Hmm.
I've never seen a newer body style Chrysler 300 even Hot Wheel car. I've seen the
Really?
old body
Oh
styles, but I've
wow.
never seen the newer Hot Wheel car.
Oh, I can't believe Hot Wheels didn't jump on that. But
So
I,
it's
I can
like
see it happening.
I need to figure out who I need to reach out to because I have no problem sending, hey, this is my vehicle. You can make a Hot Wheel of it. You ain't got
Well,
to pay me. I just want one.
They have a
but
website
so
for that.
yeah, so
Say
there
what?
are guys who do custom, in the day of 3D printers, and they can
Mhm.
print metal too. With a little looking, you'd be surprised. You might be able
Mhm.
to, find somebody who'll make you, but it might not be an authentic Hot Wheels with the Hot Wheels stamp. You know,
Right.
uh,
Right. Right.
you know.
Okay. I got a question. Look, I
Mhm.
got a question. Do you have any tips for anybody that want to start their own business?
Yeah, be invested, and be in it for the long haul. You know, Nothing happens overnight, and a proper plan prevents a piss poor performance. So come up with a plan,
Mhm.
stick to it, and don't have a plan B. I hate that saying, but plan B's mean you already expect to possibly fail.
Right.
So your energy is already hesitant. And even if you
Mhm.
don't say the words, your body language, your movement, you
Mhm.
know, um, I was with the VP of Universal Music Group signing a partnership last winter. And so they was like, you're a genius. I was like, no, I'm not. They was like, well, you think of these things. I said, hey, necessity is the mother of all invention. I needed
Mhm.
more income and I
Mhm.
figured out a way that gave me more income with more services, and then it hit on. So I wasn't sitting around like the mad scientist. I was sitting around like there is no plan B.
Right.
So I need to generate more income to finance this because I'm not about to take out loans and operate backwards, you know. And so I said, hey, I'm slow during the summer.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Oh, people are outperforming. Okay, I need a event space.
Mm-hmm.
I'm slow during the beginning of the year. Why? Because people are getting their photos done, you know,
Mm-hmm.
for their summer tour. I need a photography space, you know.
Right.
So it was the necessity is the mother of all inventions. If you don't have a plan B and you need to succeed, or you
Right.
need to feed your child, or
Mm-hmm.
um, one in 95, I picked up a famous guitar player and became his engineer. He say, "Yo, I really like your drive. You know, come to my house." He's a brother, so I'm like, whatever. Yo, his
Mm-hmm.
house was in Buckhead, and
Mm-hmm.
it was a Rolls Royce parked outside. So I'm like,
Right.
bro, you are a guitar player. How is this even possible? He said, I eliminated all plan Bs. He said, I made it to where I could eat if I didn't play that guitar. So I
Right.
didn't turn down nothing because I had to eat. And there was times that people offered me less than what I was worth, but because I needed to eat that day, I took it.
I took it.
And that was a Michael Jackson song.
There
That
you go.
was a such and such. He's like, so I'm telling you now, if you want Soul Asylum to succeed, you can have no plan B. And no one's going to agree with you. Friends and family are going to think you're crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can't go into it with that mentality, keep your day job.
There you go. That's exactly right. That is exactly right. Okay, now tell everybody where you're located and what
Okay.
you offer. Can people just come and say, I need studio time or whatever? Or do they got to know somebody that knows somebody?
Well, so I was explaining to a guy today,
Hmm.
we're a private facility.
Hmm.
We're not open to the public, but we provide a public service. And all that means is anybody can book us, but it's by appointment only. If you
Right.
just show up at the facility, no one's going to let you in the door. You know, even standing at the door, we're going to tell you, hey, you got to call this number and schedule an appointment. And you literally
Hmm.
may call a number. They literally may answer the phone and like, hey, thank you for calling Souls on Seals. Can I help you? And you're like, yo, I'm standing right outside the door. We get that, but you don't have an appointment. You know,
Right.
so let's get you an appointment and let's get you to our website and get you some pricing to make sure we're the facility for you.
Right.
So we're just at www.soulasylumstudios.com. Anybody can book us, but it's by appointment only. And we're open 24/7,
Hmm.
365, and that's actually with staff answering the phones. That don't
Hmm.
mean you can walk up because we're here. You're
Right.
going to get left outside. That means you will talk to a human being who can find out when you want to work, get your
Hmm.
schedule or what you need, and get you
Hmm.
in. And even now, if you just call now, we could probably get you in an hour. You
Hmm.
know, but that don't mean um, you can just show up. You
Right.
know,
Because
because
I
we
had
want
to
to
call and get on the books.
everything's by
I had to
appointment.
call
Even
and get
my
on the
schedule.
books.
Oh yeah, yo, Warren Buffett taught me a long time ago, and he is not my
Hmm.
friend, but I read his books and stuff.
Yeah.
When you want to get to that level of value,
Mhm.
you have to value your time and make people value your time. And
Exactly.
they take it more serious because now they know if they're on schedule, they ain't gonna be late. They gonna show up. They gonna do right. You know. And
Right.
when I switched to that, it changed everything for me.
Yeah, because
By appointment.
them walk-ins or people that don't show up, those are the people that ain't about their business.
Yeah, and you can't even get on our schedule without paying in full. Um, so
There you go.
it isn't no, hey, I want to book 2 weeks. Like, okay, well, this is what 2 weeks costs. We need that. Well,
Right.
I'm talking 2 weeks in 2024. We understand, but the
Yeah.
reserve 2024 for 2 weeks, we need to take that payment. And
There
they say,
you
well,
go.
what if I don't come? Well, you don't get a refund because somebody else want 2024. You just don't believe it until you hear in the studio, you hear somebody calling like, "Oh, I want that exact same time. I'll pay you whatever. I'm this famous person. Kick them out." Like, nah, that time is booked. It is what it is, and
Right.
I'm in the time business.
Yep.
Every time, it never fails. People always want the same time, thinking nobody wants Tuesday at 9 o'clock.
Right. But it's not
Happen.
true.
Nah, yeah, that
Right.
urge hits you. That song hits you. That artist is in town. The label's like, "Yo, we got this feature," it just goes, so.
Okay. All right. Well, we're
Now,
gonna.
if we wanted to, like, let's say me or Mona was to come down there and we
Oh,
wanted
I'm
to
gonna
get to
set
the
up an
studio,
appointment.
so we got to call, set up an appointment to take a tour of the studio.
So I'm one of the only studios in the world since 2009 that tours aren't free.
Mm-hmm.
We
Look
charge for
at.
tours, and you have to buy some of our merchandise. So
Mm-hmm.
our cheapest merchandise is wristbands that are $5, and of course we have T-shirts and hoodies, but we're what's called destination locations. So when we're walking you through, we like, yo, this is a room Wyclef John did such and such in, you
Mm-hmm.
know, So we literally giving you the celebrity experience. We're playing the music. So our tours may take an hour to get you through a facility, but it's exciting. You're in the rooms, you're getting the vibe, you're hearing the music. And it
Mm-hmm.
got to where I couldn't do those for free,
It's
because
like
people
going
were
to a
shooting,
museum.
yeah, people were shooting whole videos in our tours and adding their music to it and never booking us, because the
Right.
facilities are famous, because people know them from TV shows. So we got smart, and I charge for tours, so the
Right.
cheapest is $5.99, for the
Mm-hmm.
cheapest thing, and that's per person. And
Right.
our t-shirts are 20, our hoodies are 45 or whatever. But the cheapest
Right.
thing you can buy per person is $5 wristbands. And we charge a COVID fee because we still have to clean the facility after you leave, which is $6.99.
Exactly. Makes
You know,
sense. Makes
so about
sense. You got
$12 if you came by yourself for a tour.
Like you said, time is money, and
Yeah, and it's an experience.
exactly.
I mean, I can't make this up. Soul Asylum Studios been around a long time, but it's an experience.
Right.
It's people who are in the music business that own studios that come here like, yo, this is crazy. This is like a playground, because they're so used to just some equipment, some
Mm.
something, but it's a vibe. Like when you walk in, it's an experience from the time we welcome you with a smile, welcome to the laboratory, and
Right.
walk you through and show you all the things, even down the power wheels. We'll light up the vehicles. We keep all our vehicles indoors. So it's a
Right.
whole experience in all of the cultures.
so it's
Okay.
So
like,
we invest in it.
let me ask you this: if
Mhm.
let's just say an artist may have recorded there, right?
Mhm.
In their song, if they say, "Hey, I'm in the lab," they could possibly be referring to your studio.
Right. So do you watch any of the Vlad TV interviews?
Some.
So next time you look at that interview, I can't take you in the room because there's a session going on in there. But when you see some red speakers, that's my studio. So
Okay.
so so when you see a white room with red speakers and they interviewing Young Jock or Montel Jordan or so many celebrities,
So it's done
you know,
there.
yeah, it's down here. Yeah. Yep.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we work. Like
That's
we
good.
work.
I
That's
Like,
feel
awesome.
special. I'm on a podcast with a celebrity.
hey, you on the podcast with the janitor.
Oh God, he said the janitor. You're
So
doing too
you
much.
so you think I'm joking. So it's clients that's been clients for 10 years that have never met me. I do
Hmm.
not interact with the clients or the celebrities unless I have to. And I
Right.
don't have to because the company runs itself, because
Yeah.
I learned that. So you might not know, but we had Lear Cohen, Michael Molden, and one other celebrity in because Tip had us booked out for 2 months. So
Hmm.
they're the executives at the label. And so they kept asking for the owner. And he's not available. He's not available. He's not available. So on the last day of their booking, they went to the front desk and said, "Hey, if we don't get to speak to the owner, we're never booking Soul Asylum again." So they came and got me, and I came out. They was like, "Hey, Raphael, the bathrooms are clean. We don't need your services," because I'm
What?
introduced as a janitor.
Right. Wow.
I am really introduced as a janitor. My staff, if I walked in the building, none of the staff is snapping to attention. They
Right.
just working, and people are like, "Who is that?" They're like, "Oh, that's the janitor."
Right.
It's no
Okay.
hype around being that owner. So I went to
Right.
Michael Molden and them, and I was like, "Hey, I'm the actual owner." They was like, "What do you want it or something?" Like, we know a lot of people clean up their money and come from the. I was like, "No." I was like, "How special did you feel for 2 months in here when there was no one higher than you?"
Right.
I was like, "If I was the owner and acted like the owner, no matter
Mhm.
who's there, if I walk in and that's the mentality, they're gonna stop talking to you and address me."
Right.
So,
Right.
but now any client feels like they own Soul Asylum when they hear, because there is no hierarchy. It's just
Right.
vibe and creativity.
So
So
Right.
I think you're that man
Okay.
behind the scenes.
say again,
I said you're definitely that man behind the scene.
and I enjoy it. That ain't to say that I might be walking through and the celebrity like, "Oh, what's up, Capone?" Because they know, because it's been so many decades in the business. But other than
Right.
that, clients be like, "Yo." I've been coming here 10 years. I ain't never met the owner. You know,
Right.
they like, if he was in
Okay.
the car
Well,
scene, you'd met him.
and it
Right.
also works in your favor
I
too, because
met
when
him.
you go out in public, you don't have to feel like you got to have a whole bodyguard, security team,
Nothing.
entourage, all this,
Nothing. I
because
can be bumming.
they know
And,
who you are, but they don't know who you are.
and even when I'm at a show, I might be just at the show, then I'll fuck around with somebody like, hey, take a picture with me. And then I'll tag their ass on Instagram. They'll come back like, shit, you own the
That was
studio that
you.
Tip
That
did such and
was
such in? They was like, yo, you were just hanging out in my little Volkswagen Bug, listen to my
right.
system. I was like, why would I not be? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like,
Because they
I really
forget
enjoyed it.
just because you may work with celebrities, you may
Don't
hire,
mean shit. Exactly.
you're still a person. So, like prime example,
Exactly.
as you see, I'm an Eagles fan, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I love drag racing. My homeboy got me into drag racing. I go to the drag strip, but it's like the dopest experience I ever seen. Like here in North Carolina at Piedmont Drag Strip,
Mm-hmm.
Fletcher Cox, which is one of the best defensive players in my eyes,
Right.
he's walking around like a normal person. Ain't no
Chilling.
entourage, ain't no security team. Walk up, dap him up, look at the car, take a pic. I'm like, yo, like, I just met one of my favorite football players. Like, what the hell? Like,
Chilling. Exactly.
he's a
Right.
cool, down to earth, normal person, and it's
Yeah. We all eat the same. We all live the same. You
Yeah.
know. And if I leave you with one thing, I always say this to people.
Yes.
When I'm at car shows and they come up and they be like, oh my God, that Hummer is crazy. How much did that cost to build? I said, a good education and some dedication.
Right.
I'm pushing
Right.
that. Now, when I'm out and I'm doing whatever, and they like, oh man, you got this, you got that, I hit them with the, hey, all that glitters is not gold. And if it
right,
is gold, it comes with a weight that must be carried. Now, how much gold can one man carry? Because my
Mm,
shit is solid gold.
right. All
And
right now.
that's what
Talk.
I want to leave you with. Like,
All
yo,
right.
you cannot be successful without a team. You
Yeah.
cannot be killing it. Like eventually, no matter what your business is, you're gonna have to bring somebody else in and grow with them and feed them. That's why a lot of business don't make it the first 5 years because they used to all of the money and then now they gotta pay a payroll and
Yeah.
still try to live and expand the business. But you don't know the reach of multiple people that love
right.
the company or love what you do.
Right.
And I wouldn't say because I used to own a detail business, and I
Hmm.
wouldn't say it failed because it was I was constantly busy.
Hmm.
But I think you're right. It got to a point to where it kind of died off because people got tired of me saying, hey, okay, you own this business, blah, 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 but you're out here doing all these cars by yourself.
Yes. Yep.
I have trust issues, and my thing of it is, and I got being a business owner, especially if I'm going to try to branch out and make this big. My biggest thing is especially with detailing.
Hmm.
If I have to come behind you
Hmm.
and read something because if something goes wrong with that car or it
Yes.
ain't,
Your
they're
brand
not
is
gonna call
responsible.
my worker, they're gonna call
Hmm.
me.
Yeah.
And so my biggest thing is right now it's a small business. I can afford to hire somebody. That way I can sit at home and be with the family while the money's being made.
Hmm.
But if I got to come out and fix what you did,
Mm-hmm.
then I'm losing.
So
May not
let
be
me tell
losing
you.
money, but I'll be losing family time. And like you said, time is money.
So let me tell you how to fix that, and it's going to take everything. Um, I have a training curriculum that takes a year to complete. I don't get paid for it. It sucks up a lot of time, but I have locations that I own that I haven't been to in 3 or 4 years. And
Wow.
that's because I spent a year with that person training them, even when they want to give up, finding a way where it made sense to them. And so that don't happen often. But there's a saying, hey, why would you train those people so another company can hire them away? As like, well, what about not training them and they stay?
Right.
You still ain't got a good company. But if you
Right.
train them, they go away, wherever they go, everybody that loves them, they think of you. They think of, yo, that one guy who owned that one detail shop, I hired his
Mhm.
people away. Yo, them people so great, they end up owning their own detail shop. But if you can get yourself in a training curriculum to where you literally can train, and I'm not gonna lie, bro, it's sometimes y'all don't see me. I got 3 shifts. Each shift, I got 3 hours of training on the individual
Mhm.
who literally another studio is trying to hire him away because he know I'm training him.
Wow.
And
Okay.
even when I lose him, because I'm in the habit, I'm in that mode. I know I got to do it anyway to sustain my business for decades and decades. It don't
Right.
matter. The next one come in, I train him because the
Mhm.
smart ones stay. Because
Right.
what person with that amount of success is going to give you the game and the business
The
and
know-how.
pay you?
That's right.
You know. So,
That's
but I
true.
get it, bro. Like what you say, it's hard. Like why I'm gonna pay you to do it, then I got to come behind and do it again. But you put them through a 2 month training thing, and why training? They only make money on commission, which means they
Hmm.
have to want to be there,
Hmm.
or figure some type of way. But then by the time they get it, let them loose, and then you created duplicates of yourself. But
Hmm.
it takes a lot of patience, a lot of time, and a lot of investment in strangers. But I
That's right.
have perfected that, and I do have an amazing team. Like the people I train
Hmm.
have Grammys. They're famous engineers. And
Hmm.
when you talk to them, they be like, "Oh, I got my start at Soul Asylum. I was under Capone for 3, 4 years, but I was making money in a year. As a
Hmm.
matter of fact, I was making money while he was training me. But I was able to support my family within a year. Um,
Right.
and so that also is a different type of respect around the industry that I just didn't become successful. I could make other people successful,
Right.
and it's sustained success.
Makes sense. Makes a
Yeah.
lot of sense. All right, guys, we're gonna cut this thing off. It only supposed
Yes,
to be
sir.
an hour. All right. Thank you, Raphael, for
Hey,
joining
nice
us.
meeting you, Aaron.
Nice
And
to
you
meet you
have,
too.
yeah, you have gave us a lot of knowledge about a lot of things.
I tried. I
a
tried.
lot, a lot of
And
things.
I'll be on the lookout for
Oh yeah, on
when you
Vlad
start
TV.
having car
Yeah, when you
shows.
when you.
Well, that and when you have your car meets, because like I said,
Oh yeah, it's once a month.
Mona will tell you I have no problem traveling, and I would love to come.
But didn't you say wait, didn't you say those car meets were invite only?
Well, so what we do is we put out a post, and you have to submit your vehicle, and
Hmm.
then someone will approve you. But if you're press, a blogger, or just people who just want to experience it, we do invite just what we call spectators. But we're
Spectator.
harder. We're harder on the vehicles that's coming in because we
Hmm.
want it to be a cultured experience.
Right. I understand.
So
Mhm.
like this one, Lexus is bringing some cars that those colors ain't even in the states yet. And then some regular people also. So we got a mix of the culture to get it going, and then it's Lexus is sending out their actual magazine photographers, so they're going to
Right.
capture it the way we want.
Oh.
But regular people can come, so spectators can come,
Hmm.
and just enjoy and kick it because it's also like an open house too. So we'll still have all the studios going, and we'll
Hmm.
have photographers here that's
Okay.
taking pictures of the people in the cars, and that's how we pull the cars in because they actually get to do an indoor shoot in the actual photography suite. So we'll be rotating cars out while the
Okay.
cars sit in the building. We'll still be rotating them into the photography room, letting
Hmm.
them get a professional photo shoot of their car.
Yeah, that's gonna be nice.
It's
Okay.
just a vibe. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah. All right.
So,
Okay.
quick question, like with the car, like you said, like with the cars that people submit, is it a specific style of car? Like, I mean, have you guys open to like big wheel cars, lowered cars, tuner
Yeah,
cars,
it's
muscle
it's it's,
cars?
it's it's everything. Like
Okay,
it's so far approved was everything you just named. You know what I'm saying? Like it's some classic cars,
Yeah,
exotic
thing
cars,
rest.
big wheel cars. It's just a whole vibe because we don't want one type of people here. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? So we want where they come and everybody's just hanging out and kicking because eventually we're gonna add vendor space.
Right.
Where people can come in at the front of the building and be just vendors and some of our sponsors just
Hmm.
hitting up with people. And then, like I say, I'm gonna be pulling my celebrity friends and be like, hey, whatever, can we use your Lamborghini this month? And will you just show up and just kick it with some people?
because I
So we're
tell you
gonna
one
make
show
it
that I
into a
missed.
nice little vibe.
I tell you
Say
one
again?
show that I missed that I missed last year, but I will be going this year. Is Rick Ross's
You
car
better.
show.
You better. That show was crazy.
I missed it,
I
but
seen all pictures and
what
stuff.
the reason why I missed it is when I seen what the spectator entry cost was. I was like, shit.
It was crazy, but guess what?
But to be in that realm with all those people, the different celebrities, I mean, and then to see Rick Ross mingling with everybody as
Every
normal
so guess why he could do that? Because
because it
when the
was on his
ticket is
property.
only $100, the thugs is running up on that. But when the tickets is
Hmm.
750 or 300 or whatever, It was a certain type of class of people, bro. There was no security walking around because
Right.
everybody that paid that fee wasn't coming to fight. They wasn't
Right.
coming to argue. Bro, I
Right.
dropped my wallet. I dropped my wallet by the truck and didn't realize it. And I'm hanging out and I went to go buy something to have my wallet. I walked back and my wallet was just sitting on the ground next to the vehicle in the walkway. So it wasn't like I was in a car lane. The Hummer
Right.
was my Hummer was at the edge of a walkway that people was using to pass by. So
Right.
it was no hungry people there in that
Right.
sense. So
Right.
it made sense to where it brought I want to say a demographic, but it brought a vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of the guys that I know from here from North Carolina that went, they say, yo, because they entered their cars. Like my homeboy Sean entered his truck. My homeboy Taman entered his Buick Skylark. You might have seen it, the yellow Buick Skylark with the rose gold wheels.
Oh, okay.
I mean, they entered their cars and they was just like, yo, most of the time when we go to car shows, we post up, set up our display, open our doors, play our music, and we buy our car the whole time. My boy Taman said, look, I parked my car, opened it up, and I wasn't even back in my car to the end of the show.
Right. It was so much to do and people to
Yeah.
see and hang out, man. It was a vibe, man. They did a good job with that. I was really impressed
And
with
to
bringing
see,
good energy.
and to see what's it called? Rick Ross is walking up. Hey, 100,000 right now. Cash.
Yeah.
It's like hey, it got me low key. Like, yo, I know Rick Ross may not like new cars, but I'm gonna have to hook this 300 up some type of way.
You know, he likes
When I
red
get there,
cars.
I'm gonna have that title in my head.
Right.
All right, here we go.
He
Like,
like
right.
red vehicles now. Red vehicles.
Right. Painted red.
It's blue now, but I might have to paint it red.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Yeah. So you better make sure you come because it was definitely exciting.
Yeah. All right.
I'm
Thank
gonna
you.
get my
Rob.
early, too.
Thank
We're
you.
gonna get out of here, and I appreciate you coming on.
Indeed. Thanks for inviting me.
And I'm going to make sure I keep following all those nice things and great things that you're doing.
Thank you for
Real
the
quick,
support.
tell everybody where they can follow your posts and stuff like that.
Okay. You can follow me personally on Instagram at Mr. Rafael Capone. And you can follow the company's Soul Asylum Studios group on Instagram and SAS Acoustic and Design Firm on Instagram, which is our design and build company. Or if you just Google Soul Asylum Studios, we will come up, or Rafael Capone. We come up, we've been around so long, we hold weight in analytics across search engines.
All right. Now make
All right,
it
good talking, y'all.
I can follow you too, so I can keep in touch.
All right, y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Good night.
Good night.